KL Publications presents Mr. Smooth Operator by Ryan C. Sanders. Marco, a man in his late 20s, sat at his computer one evening, staring at the screen with a frowned brow. The kids were finally asleep, and the house was at last silent. Something had become increasingly rare with 3 children under 6. He loved his kids more than anything, and he adored his wife, NayNay. But lately, things had shifted in their relationship. The easy, passionate connection they once had seemed more like a distant memory. He missed the excitement and the closeness they used to share. Sex, once spontaneous and thrilling, now felt like an afterthought squeezed into between diaper changes, homework, and bedtime stories. He couldn't quite pinpoint when things had changed. Maybe it was the exhaustion that came with parenting, or maybe it was the daily grind of life. Whatever it was, Marco knew that he and NayNay needed to reconnect in a deeper, more intimate way. They still loved each other deeply, but the fire, the spark had dimmed. Something needed to change, and he was determined to figure out what. Scrolling through the various websites, Marco found himself typing into the search bar, "How to spice up your relationship after kids." Countless articles and books popped up, but one title caught his eye, The Shocker by Brad P. It promised unconventional techniques, bold ideas, and most importantly, a way to break free from routine. Marco had heard about the concept before, but reading through the reviews and summaries intrigued him. Maybe this was exactly what he needed, a fresh perspective, something unexpected to bring back the spark. The realization. Marco clicked buy and waited for the book to arrive. Over the next few days, he thought about how much things had changed since they had their 3rd child. He and NayNay barely had time for themselves, let alone any excitement in the bedroom. When they did find a moment of peace, it was often filled with exhaustion rather than passion. The book arrived in the mail, and Marco couldn't help but chuckle as he flipped through its pages. The shocker wasn't exactly what he had expected. Bold, explicit, and edgy. It dove into unconventional sex techniques that felt both foreign and oddly intriguing. Brad P. emphasized breaking out of routines, trying new things, and communicating openly with your partner. Ideas that Marco could get behind. But it wasn't just about the techniques. The book stressed the importance of communication and understanding between partners. Marco realized that they hadn't really talked about their sexual relationship in months. They had been going through the motions, but the deeper connection had been lost somewhere between the chaos of raising children and managing their lives. A conversation with NayNay. That evening, Marco decided to talk to NayNay after putting the kids to bed. He found her in the living room, scrolling through her phone, looking as tired as he felt. He sat down next to her and handed her a cup of tea. "Hey," he started, unsure of how to begin. "Can we talk for a minute?" NayNay looked up, concerned. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, exactly," Marco said, fumbling for the right words. I miss us. You know? Things feel differently lately. I've been thinking about it, and I just want us to find a way to get that connection back, to feel close again, not just as parents, but as partners." NayNay nodded slowly, her eyes softening. "Yeah, I've been feeling it too. It's hard to keep that part of our relationship alive with everything else going on." Marco took a deep breath. "I've been doing some research," he admitted with a sheepish grin. "And I found this book." He handed her The Shocker. "It's bold, but I think it has some good ideas. Maybe we could try something new, shake things up a little." NayNay raised an eyebrow as she flipped through the pages. "You really went through all of this, huh?" she teased. But there was a playful glint in her eyes. "I'm not against trying new things, but we need to make sure it's not just about sex. We need to reconnect emotionally too." Marco nodded in agreement. "Absolutely. I don't want this just to be about spicing up things in the bedroom. I want us to be close again, to feel like we're in sync." They spent the next hour talking, really talking, for the first time in a long time. Marco opened up about how he'd been feeling disconnected, and NayNay shared about her frustrations about how the demands of parenting and life had made it hard for her to feel sexy or desired even. It wasn't as easy of a conversation, but it was honest, and it felt like a step in the right direction. The plan. In the days that followed, Marco and NayNay made a concerted effort to carve out time for each other. They agreed that spontaneity, while exciting in the past, wasn't always realistic now that they had 3 kids. Instead, they created a schedule, a regular date night, where they could focus on each other both emotionally and physically. On these nights, they would spend time together without the distraction of phones and chores or the kids. Sometimes they would cook dinner together, or times they would just talk or cuddle on the couch. They agreed to try some of the techniques from the shocker when they both felt comfortable, but they were sure to keep the focus on connection rather than performance. It wasn't just about sex, it was about intimacy, about finding their rhythm again. And slowly but surely, it worked. They began to feel like partners again, not just parents managing chaos. The playful banter returned, and the chemistry that had been buried under layers of stress and fatigue started to resurface. The harmony. A few months into their new routine, Marco and NayNay found that their relationship had transformed. The spark was back, not just in the bedroom, but in the way that they interacted with each other. They had learned how to balance their roles as parents and partners, and the balance brought a sense of peace and harmony into their home. The book was crazy, but it worked. NayNay joked one night as they lay in the bed, the soft glow of the lamp casting shadows over the wall. Marco laughed. Yeah, it definitely opened my eyes to a few things. But I think what really worked was us talking, really talking. NayNay smiled and kissed him on the cheek. You still got it, Mr. Smooth Operator. Marco grinned, feeling content for the first time in a long time. They had found their way back to each other, and it felt like they were stronger than ever. They weren't just surviving anymore. They were thriving together. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe.